Hey there. I don't know how many will join. Welcome to any of you that can join live, and welcome replay viewers. There probably will be more replay viewers for this. Hey there, Valerie and Maria, and I don't know you, and Carrie. I'm learning people. There's a lot of people. Kay, there's a lot of people that are, hey Jess, that are on here, and I see a lot, and I still don't know your name. So, oh, still sick? Oh my goodness, so sorry. Hello. Good. Show them your library. Good. This is, hey Ingrid. It's one other of your scopes don't really scope yet. Kay, okay. Got you sick. That's the way it happens. We stay with them while they're sick, and then we get sick when they feel better. Hey Molly.
Baby, what am I doing?
Oh, Carter. Hold. Let me introduce myself. My name is Hilda Rebecca. You can find me mostly on Instagram at H5Manriquez, and I'm a member of Homeschool Scopes TV. And that's where this will be posted, the link to this, and maybe even the catch to this. Oh, okay. This isn't a real, I guess I will share some living books. Hey, Allison. I was watching the one that you just shared, Allison, but I want to watch the replay, see if I can figure out the stuff. I don't even want to think about all the Instagram stuff, but I guess I've got to figure some stuff out. So this is, scoot over here, Carter. Scoot over. This is my grandson, Carter. And yeah, I watched a little bit of it, but I'm going to watch the replay when he's not here with me. But he wants, because it'll bore you, Carter, to watch that thing I was watching before. That's why I'm going to wait till you go home. Oh, good. Carter Lynn. Her little girl's name is Carter. Spelled with a K too. Your mama said hey. See, that's your mama right there. Anyway, we're going to talk about this book right here today. Teach your child to read in 100 easy lessons. Hold on. Thankfully, whenever my now 20-year-old was 4, someone very wise and wonderful put this book in my hand and said, here, use this to teach her how to read, and it'll work. And so I had blind faith. I have a lot of blind faith when people I trust hand something to me and say, use it, it will work.
Hey, baby, I'm going outside.
Huh?
I'm going outside.
No, you're not. Because you're going to do this in just a second. Now he wants to go outside. When Sissy comes back, you can go outside. Or when we get done, we'll go outside. Okay? Anyway, whenever, someone that I trust said, use this and it will work, I did. Like Leah was talking about that with the Charlotte Mason method. It's sort of like you've got to have faith in the philosophy and just believe it's going to work. And that's what I did with this book. So the first thing you need to do, so I have taught now 5 children how to read with this book. Carter was the 5th. And all of them learned at different levels. They all have different learning styles. They all, different things going on with them. And this book helped them learn to read. Yeah. So there's other good reading programs, but, to me, I didn't need to fix it because this one worked and I already had it, and I just kept on going with it. So whenever you get this book, what you need to do, it depends on the child. Now, my oldest daughter that I taught to read with this book, I think I even reviewed some of my older son. But she wanted to start at 4.5. She was the earliest. So before she was 5, she was pretty much in lesson 80-something, and she didn't even want to finish it. But that's not every child. My youngest was 6.5 before he was even interested. Carter here started a little bit faster, and he just, You were 5. I think he was 5.
No, I was 6.
No, when
I
we
was
started.
turning 5.
Yeah, when we started, he was 5, and yeah, it just depends. He grasped it very fast, and, you know, he read his first sentence and was ready to go get any book in my library and say, I can read now. So, anyway, so it works. I think it will work for every child, but I had to keep on putting it down and coming back to it with the children and just wait until they were ready. Like, we would try to do a lesson or two, and if I could tell it wasn't working, we just set it down and I read to them and go back to it in a week or two and then pick it back up until they're ready. And whenever they are ready, we do maybe 3 lessons a week and then read to them in between. And we had the little, once they got a little bit in, we got the little Bob books. You know, they're so dumb. It's like Matt sat on a, I don't even know if it says on a hat. It's like Matt sat, I don't know. They're funny. The little Bob books. You remember those? They were
It's
cute.
on the iPad too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We have an app for that now. So I think I gave the books away because we have an app for it. But it's great because they can read a little book, you know, and it's words they can read. So you can start the Bob books like with just a few lessons in.
Why can't I just go?
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, this is the only reading program I have ever used because, like I said, it worked. So this is all I know. So whenever you get the book, we don't need it right now, honey. So whenever you get this, yeah, well, you don't have to put, this one is gentle. It can be gentle. So what you need to do is read all the things that they tell you about it. Like, read everything they talk to you about why they chose this way. There's a few pages in the beginning. Read how to pronounce the sounds, because if you don't pronounce them correctly, it'll mess them up. You have to pronounce them like the leapfrog things do a good job of pronouncing them. Because I remember back in the day, I used to let my children watch some of the PBS programs or computer games, and they were pronouncing the sound for B, for the letter B, like buh, buh, and I'm like, you're not watching that, because it's not B-U, it's just B, it's buh, 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 like just short sounds, and this teaches you how to do that. And they don't even have to know the alphabet when they start this. In fact, they even say it's probably better if they don't already know the names of the letters when they start this, because it might help them not be confused. So in the very front, there's a pronunciation guide for the letters and the sounds to help you know how to say it right. Like M, the letter M, what's that sound, Carter? Mm. Say it louder. Mm. Mm. Yeah, so once he learns the sounds, then he can decode other words. So, yeah, sounds versus letters, which my daughter knew all her letters. My sons didn't. It didn't really matter. I mean, it didn't hinder them either way, but when I read that they didn't have to know the letters, it was like, okay, well, if you don't have to know them before you read, then we won't. And they learn them eventually. You know, they learn them eventually. So this right here is a diagram that tells you how to go through. So we practice. I'm going to hold the book this way, and Carter's going to look at the book, and he is going to, hey there, Jamie. He is going to watch me. So look at the book, Carter, and show them how you read this. You're supposed to, hold on one second. You're supposed to start here, and as your finger slides over and you get under the sound, they're supposed to say the sound. And when you get to the arrow, they're supposed to stop. I think using this book is a good idea. And whatever pace your child is ready to go at that pace. Yeah, I mean, if you want to throw in learning letters on top of this, I don't think it's going to hurt. But I really think this is all. Yeah, the lessons take when you get to the end, they may take 10 minutes, but mostly they're 5 minutes. Soft vowels first. Yeah, I'll show you how this goes through, so you can see how this compares to Rebecca. Because, like I said, I don't know anything about the Rebecca phonics. So you teach your child to follow your finger. So here we go, Carter. Mimi's going to start here and watch my finger, and when I get to the sounds, you say the sounds. Okay? You ready?
Me.
He got a little fast because he already knows how to read these things, but that's how it works. So they follow your finger, and eventually they use their own finger. So let me show you the first sound. I think that's all about before the first sound is to read the instructions and get that under your head. They also have a writing chart for you if you choose to have them do the writing lessons to go along with this. I did it sometimes because we did copy work and stuff, like really short copy work, so I did the writing lessons when they wanted to. So maybe once a week they do the writing. So this is the first lesson. So what you need to do is when you see the words in red, they have the words in red. That's exactly what you're supposed to say. So when I first started doing this book, I would just read the words in red. But after doing it with so many children, yes, I was going to say that at the end. The DonnaYoung.org does have printables that you can print up with the, yes, it is your script. So DonnaYoung.org, thank you for doing that. If somebody wants to type that in, has stuff to go along with this, the flashcards. In fact, hold on. I think we put them up because he already knows how to, your flashcards, but we had all those printed. Yeah, I think you can find the book on Amazon. So anyway, so in red it says, I'm going to touch under the sound and say the sound. And then it tells you what to do. Touch the first ball of arrow. Move quickly to second ball. Hold 2 seconds. So it's like it tells you exactly what to do, but after a few lessons, I don't even read this. Whenever I sit down, I just go straight to here because you know what to do. Yeah, this is, I don't know what, like I said, I've had this for probably 18 years. So, yeah, well, Jamie, I think that some people might, like, a lot of people said yeah, I think it's like you've just got to, once you get the groove and you know what they expect, like once I knew what the system was, it's like I don't read all this stuff anymore. If I was going to sit down and I'd just go straight to this and say, this is your new sound, because I've done this so many times. But the first time it was a little bit slower and it was new. But, so we go to this and I say, so this is your sound. And when I get to the arrow, you stop making the sound. So try it, Carter. Like that. So then you do another sound and it tells you what to do. And then they do a game called Say It Fast, where it says, let's play Say It Fast. My turn. Motor, boat. Now I'm going to say it fast. Motorboat. Now it's your time. Your turn. Motor, boat. Say it fast, Carter.
Motorboat.
Yeah. I have no idea why this works, but it does. So they do the say it fast. And then you say the sounds. I'm going to say some words slowly. You sound crazy saying it, but they get it. Like it gets in their head. So then they say the sounds slowly. So it goes on like that for a little while. And this is the it depends on the child. I've started as young as 4, as old as like 6.5. It really depends. I pull it out and, whoop, Carter. No, that was one of the things I really liked. They don't need to know anything at all. And they even suggested it was probably better if they didn't know the letters. So this is the first word they read. And then it goes on the same way, and this is, I didn't count that as the first word because that was sort of weird, so I counted this as their first word.
Carter, Kaylee,
Yep, and
Alex.
so I wrote the date. I didn't write it for my older ones, but I wrote the date that these children read the first word ever, their first word ever, so that's a nice little keepsake. Yes, I just, drop everything else. I think this would work. Jen, right? Your name's Jen. Atlanta with the chickens, Jen. Yeah, I think it would work if you just clear the slate and say, we're going to do this, and just take it easy. And don't get stressed if, like it doesn't stick for a while, just go back and do it again. You know, do the lesson again. And this was one thing that was weird. I don't know why they wanted you to, I had a problem with them not seeing the word as written, like see, like they wanted me to teach them that this was the word see. I had a problem with that, so I drew another E. So I just wanted to point that out if you get the old one. So it tells you exactly what to do, and then this is yeah. All right, come here, Carter. We're going to do the rhyming. Now this is the next thing that pops up, is the rhyming. Now I know a lot of people, what, rhyming? Do they like the rhyming? So when you do the rhyming, you say, we're going to use this sound right here. What is the sound, Carter? Read the sound. Okay, so that's the sound, and when I get to the arrow, we're going to rhyme with the sound at. So what sound are we going to rhyme with?
At.
Okay, so show them how that works.
Okay. Sat.
You see, so when you get to the arrow, they say at, and so it's sat, and then we're going to rhyme with, see, I just skimmed through and see so I know that's the next sound because I've done it so many times, but the first time it's got the script for you. And then he says over here is the same thing. So we're going to rhyme with am, Carter. Okay, what are we going to rhyme with?
Am.
All right, so let's start.
Ram.
Yeah, so you see how that works? I don't know why. It's one of their, I just think this book has a little bit of fairy dust in it. So then after a while they introduce silent letters. So you tell the child that when it's a little letter, you don't say it. And then, so they go through, okay, let's read this word, but remember, don't say the small letters, okay?
Okay. Seat.
Seat. Yeah. Yes, I knew that I've heard a lot of people say, oh, I couldn't use that book, and it almost breaks my heart because this book has been such a blessing to our family, and it has saved me, I'm sure, lots and lots of money by not having to go buy anything else but this one book. Okay, so now we get to the fun part. Once you get to lesson, what lesson is this? This is the part, lesson 13. You get to read the very first sentence. All right, yay! You get to read the very first sentence. But what's important is when they start reading on lesson 13, make sure you have a black sheet of construction paper to cover up the picture. Because that's a big thing. Yeah, no, it's just, I showed them the picture. I'm sorry. You see, he's like, you can't see the picture. So here's, yeah, well, I think this is my second one actually because I had coffee all over it. All right, Carter, so read this sentence.
Okay. See. Me.
And then they get the big reveal of the picture. And that's always like such an excitement to them, to have to read the story or the sentence and wait to see the picture. I could imagine it being a little bit boring if they saw the picture, or either, you know, they can decode what the picture is and they'll be busy guessing what the words say instead of really trying to read the words. So that's another advantage of covering up the picture. So it's a big reveal for them, and I'm always like, don't peek ahead, don't peek ahead. So that's something they look forward to when they get to that, and they get excited about doing the lessons because they get to have a picture revealed. So there's picture comprehension, which I never really did because I really think that it won't work as well if you let them see the picture. I think it'll work much better if you cover up the picture. And then this is the second sentence.
I already saw the picture.
Yeah, he says, I already saw the picture. And you see how it has the arrow to keep going. But the picture comprehension part, we didn't do very often. I just asked them to narrate the picture to me or talk about it, or sometimes we didn't even do that. This would be up to your discretion if you wanted to do that or not. And this is, they tell you at the end of the lesson how to teach the writing of the letters, if you want to do that. Yeah, well, with the way we do with Charlotte Mason, it's like I want them to, it's just, we just don't ask like comprehension questions.
Mommy, can I go
It's
with the
just,
iPad?
yeah, just don't have the sound on. Just stay close in case I need you.
Okay.
And then let's see. This is the next thing I wanted to point out. Once they're starting to train them of how you go and read sentences in a book. So you see their finger follows the line, so that's the next step. And then they've taken the dots away. So this is a reading fast. When there's a dot, you read it fast. So with this, they would read this sound fast, like t. You know, you'd encourage them to read those fast. And by this time, they're using their own finger instead of mine to do the reading. So that's something else they introduce, is reading fast. So like this one, when you're going over the sounds, this shows that it's like a sharp one, like k. And this is, you know, so you can draw these out. So they have different symbols. And as you're going along, for some reason, they learn this as, I like them to learn this as the word a, not a. I don't want them to say this is a seed. I want them to say this is a seed. So that was my personal choice to make that a long A. No, they don't, because I'll show you. That's what we're going to, as it goes on, it gets smaller. You see? And I would probably not do anything except Bob books and maybe very, very simple readers with them, or you reading aloud, except for this, until they get further on. And then they add punctuation later on. Good. They add punctuation, and like the things evolve, like the print evolves and changes until at the end they're reading Times New Roman in a small font that's like in a book. And then they progress to no dots. You see how later on that's no dots? So that was lesson 50. Oh, it took different, like it might have taken as long as a year or more for some of them. It just depends on the child, and that's the beauty of this. You just work on it until, yeah. Now see, I had one who we've decided he's 19, and we never wanted to label it. We just kept through, and we are 100% sure that he's dyslexic. And I used this for him, and he was 9.5. He was 9.5 before, like you can just sort of tell when you're working with them. You can just sort of tell. I did a lot of praying while I was using this with them, and we kept on putting it down and picking it back up. And finally, you know, you saw him go over something just clicked. So we were, you know, somewhere in this book, and when it clicked, we just pushed right through, and he picked up Robin Hood as his first book to read. He skipped a couple pages and you know, struggled a little bit, but he was ready to read like a real chapter book. And, you know, he's 19 now, and he can read like nobody's business. And he's
Daniel?
Yeah, Daniel, and he's learned so much through the living books that we do, that we use. So
17.
I can't imagine what things would have been like for him if he'd have gotten into the system. So I just thank goodness for this book. Yeah, and you know, if it takes a while, don't stress. I mean, really don't stress. Just keep on reading to them out loud. Read to them out loud if they're not reading yet. Read rich books full of rich language and ideas if they're not reading on their own. So they'll still be getting, you know, the good ideas, but don't stress about them not reading. You know, take it slow and at their own pace, but you know, somewhat consistent. Try at least once a week until you see an interest. Oh my goodness, go to Ambleside Online at the year 0 and year 1, the free reads, and lots of great books there, you know. So anyway, they have a title. So it's almost like that was one of the new things. I just put tabs. Ambleside Online is the sort of the guide that we use for school. We don't do it 100%, but they have a lot of wonderful book. Like go to the year zero, depending on what age your children are, go to year 0 and year 1 if they're younger for read alouds. Look in the free read section. They may even have a page that's all free reads, what they call free reads, that's not in the curriculum. So now you see the text is getting smaller. So that's a change, and pretty soon, now they're going over a lesson to show them, like this is what they're used to seeing, and this is what the word looks like in a, a regular book. So now they're showing them what Times New Roman looks like compared to what they've been seeing. So, they really progress well. And then, finally, they introduce capital letters. And then, so at the beginning, now you're going to get capital letters at the beginning of the sentence. So they're getting their grammar and punctuation and stuff, but not so early that it confuses them. They're not getting the capital letter at the beginning of the sentence until their reading is pretty much firm. It's good reading. So I like that, because when you try to read the regular book, sometimes that throws them. And then by the last lesson, let's see. This is lesson 100. And that's the last lesson. Oh, and I forgot to mention, they do a first reading and second reading, and we rarely did the second reading unless there was something that was a struggle, or I would read it to them the second time, because honestly, even sometimes they were just tired, just because you have to have so much concentration, and we would try to keep it no longer than 10 minutes, because if it went over 10 minutes, then that is a sure sign to put the book down and go do something else and then come back to it, because it shouldn't be a struggle. It shouldn't be a struggle. So, and then at the very end are some suggestions of books to read, and a little bit of note from the writers for how to choose books for them to read after this. So I wanted to show you some of the ones that Carter did. I think all of mine did, like Amelia Bedelia and Frog and Toad and Little Bear. Like when they were close to the end of the book, I was already letting them read these to me. And the I Can Read Science books, they were reading those. And then I found these I Can Read Mysteries. And then I found, some of the vintage readers, Dick and Jane, and stuff like that. So I found these were some of the early ones. Now these, I had to help him because a lot of these words he didn't know, but he could sound them out with me sitting there. Little vintage readers like this. And then I shared on one of my other book scopes about this series. This is a very good one, especially for boys, but it starts out like this, and it's a graduated series. These are out of print and hard to find, but these are some of the best, graduated. Like they start like this, and they'll get to know Dan, and then the last book is close to a chapter book. Lots of words. Oh, definitely at the same time, because they're not going to... This is definitely a one child at a time book. When I had two doing it at the same time, I did my daughter first thing in the morning because she was raring to go, and my son after like morning time or something. So yeah, you can't do this with two at a time because two children are not going to learn exactly the same way. Yeah, two children are not going to, like one of them may get the letter S quicker than the other one. So the sound for S, and one of them may remember it. Now it probably would be good for them to be within earshot, but then also you don't want to, competition is good in a lot of ways competition is good, but you don't want them to feel bad. If sibling is getting this faster, it's not bad if you don't get it yet. It's not a bad thing. So, you may not be getting your letter sounds as fast as your sibling, but I'm sure there's something else you're getting faster. So you don't want to make them feel bad, So anyway, so I think I've covered about everything I wanted to cover in here. I wanted to do the scope because I'll call them in a minute, because this worked for me. Like, this was a book that worked for me, and like I said, it saved me lots of money because it worked with my first one. Do you need them, or can you use a book? You can use a book on its own. Now, the flashcards are free. They are free from donnayoung.org, and they print it up with these lessons. So, like, after you do I think like lessons 1 through 15, there's a set of flashcards that you can print up for free. And what I would do is sometimes on days that we didn't do a lesson, I'd just sit down with him and do review flashcards. And that really helps supplement. Oh, well, I'm glad I printed out those flashcards when I did, because they were free. Free when I printed them off. Do you know if they're very expensive? You can make your own flashcards. You could like, as you go over a word, as you learn a new word, put it on an index card. And just, every couple of days, don't try to do a lesson. Yeah, just do flashcards, because I really think it'll work better if you don't try to cram in 5 lessons a week, unless you really have one that's just, just really rolling with it without any second guessing. Like if they have to sit there and think a little bit and you have to remind them, like I had little things that I would do to remind them. Like if they forgot the sound for the letter N, I would tap them on the nose and they'd remember. And if they, what was another one? Oh, if they forgot the OW sound for owl, I'd give them a playful pinch. Not a hurt one. I didn't hurt my children, but I'd like a tickle pinch. And they'd be like, ow! And I'm like, that's your sound. And if, and sometimes like whenever they read the word kiss in here, and if they're not getting it, I'd give them a kiss. And they'd be like, oh, kiss, Oh, and there is a word in here that all of my children and my grandchildren did not want to read because they thought it was an ugly word, which it can be an ugly word. Do you remember what it was, Carter, that you said was an ugly word and you didn't like to read?
Dumb.
No, that dumb is not in here. It starts with a H.
Hate?
Hate, yes. Because they use the word hate because it's a good phonetic word. But I had to explain to them, they're not hating a person. It's never about a person, like they hate the wind or they hate the water or something like that. So it's,
yes, it is.
Yeah, I don't think.
Liam said he hates me.
Yeah, but that's not in this book. That was his cousin. So yeah. So it wasn't like against somebody. It wasn't. There's no like ugly children or ugly stories in this book. But they were like, at one point he said, "Mimi, I'm not going to read that word." Yeah, and so I was like, it's okay to say it for this. But it opens up conversation. It was still fun. So there was enough kisses and hugs and love in this book too to cover up for that word. So anyway, I just wanted to share to encourage people to give it a try, and if it didn't work, just relax and try it again. I've heard a lot of people really, really like All About Reading, and I don't know if it does sort of the same thing, but that's the only other program I've ever heard that people love as much as this one. Now, see, I got this one used at a consignment shop. You see how long ago? So this is my second book. Anyway, well, we're going to sign off, and thank you, Carter.
What do you mean?
What? Are you talking about Donna Young? Yep. I loathe him. I seriously dislike. Yeah, a lot of people like that, but I know nothing about it, but I think that's the only other program I've heard about that people rave about. Most of the people that use this with success Never pick up anything else. That's from what I've heard. So, I'm sorry I told you Donna Young was free. That just shows you how long it's been since I've needed anything from there. But you can make your own. Yeah. I don't know anything about it. This is, like I said, I paid $14 for this used secondhand, and I don't think there's anything wrong with the old one. I don't think you need to get the new one. Just cover up your pictures and take your time, and don't stress if they're not reading when they're 6. Just keep on reading to them, and they'll eventually learn to read. All right, good. Good. Well, I'm going to sign off and go post the link to this on the Homeschool Scopes, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye.